Hello there everybody, it is me, XfreezerBunny, and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So as promised in my last build, today we are doing an apartment, and this is a starter apartment here in Mount Komorebi. So as you all know, whenever I start a new game, I do prefer to move in my Sims in an apartment. And I thought this was a great opportunity to give you something a little bit different as far as, you know, your choices of residential homes to move your Sims in. And I know for a fact that apartments are very common in Japan, especially in urban areas. So I was like, you know what, why not do another apartment? So basically this is just a scaled down version of my traditional Japanese apartment builds I did about a month or two ago for my new Crest series. And by scaled down, I mean basically it's a smaller version and it's also less detailed. I mean, the apartment itself is actually fully furnished, and by fully furnished I mean one unit is fully furnished because the rest of the apartment building itself is just an empty shell. The apartment unit is considered a 1K, and 1K in Japan means one kitchen. It's basically a one-room apartment with a separate room for a kitchen, and of course there's also a bath as well. So yeah, I built this in this lot where the original starter here in Mount Komorebi was located. And yeah, I'm really happy that for some reason I did manage to make this under 20k. Last I checked, this house was about 19,100 something simoleons, so you know, I did probably go a little bit over budget if you were gonna move a single sim in here. Just please keep that in mind. But on the gallery it is under 20k, so I did meet the requirement of a starter, right? Wink wink, nudge nudge. But also this is a limited pack only build, so other than Snowy Escape and base game, you're only really gonna need Eco Lifestyle, University, Laundry Day, and Get Together. And I tried my best to really limit the packs that I used for this build, and the packs that I used were absolutely necessary for the look and the functionality that I wanted to have for this apartment. So yeah, the structure itself is honestly pretty basic. It's another apato, which is a traditional type of Japanese apartment. It's usually less than 3 stories, and typically apato are built out of lighter materials like wood, or I noticed that sometimes they could also be built out of like an iron or like corrugated metal type material. This time I actually made it into kind of like this concrete tile, which probably isn't that accurate, but I thought it really captured the vibe of the apato in Japan anyway. So I definitely imagined this to be located somewhere in the suburbs of maybe a bigger city, and the apartment itself I imagine is rented by, I don't know, maybe a student or a young professional worker. I'd like to think of them as like a manga artist, but literally like all of my Sims I am playing for my Japanese save file are manga artists. I don't know, maybe I'm living vicariously through them. And yeah, as you can see, it's pretty symmetrical in both the front and the back. The back though does have a pretty large balcony, and the reason for that is because I wanted to fit in a clothesline so that we wouldn't have to need a dryer. And this is one of the things that I got a lot of feedback from in my other traditional Japanese apartment build. A lot of people really wanted me to put a clothesline on the balcony for that one. Unfortunately, the balcony was only 1 tile wide, so there was no way of making that possible, but I made sure to take in all of your feedback to hopefully make this a much more improved build. So yeah, this is the apartment unit itself. As you can see, we are redoing the floor plan. One thing that I do like to do before doing the actual structure whenever I do apartments is actually work out the floor plan of the unit, so I make sure there is enough space. And you can also see me make use of the new platform system that got introduced with Snowy Escape. You don't actually need to have Snowy Escape to have flat platforms, but let me tell you, platforms are pretty amazing actually. I actually really like them. They're actually very versatile, and I'm actually really surprised at how functional they are as well. When it was first announced, I was really expecting The Sims to get stuck all of the time. I was really expecting there to be some sort of, you know, movement issues for The Sims, but so far I really didn't have a lot of that. Oh, and also this house has the sign where, you know, Sims take off their shoes indoors. I also noticed that that sign costs money. I think it would have been better as a lot trade, because to be honest, I don't really want to have to spend like it. I think it was like 100-200 simoleons, and for a starter house, that is a lot of money already. So I didn't want to spend money on the sign, but I had to include it because otherwise this wouldn't have been an accurate Japanese build. And speaking of accuracy, here you can see me do this technique of creating a pretty convincing looking futon, in my opinion, using platforms combined with these beds from the Show Hidden Objects category. These are beds that came with Eco Lifestyle, and this technique was actually shared to me by Marky Hugs on Twitter, so full credit to them for letting me know about this technique. And yes, the bed itself is functional. You will see in the house tour video that the Sim will be using that bed. And I also noticed that the Sims can scoot onto the other side of the bed as well, so if you have the bed put next to the wall, the Sims will be able to use the other side of the bed. So you can technically move in a couple in here, because in case you didn't know, there was a time when scooting across the bed didn't work. Yeah, it was weird for people, but hopefully they fixed it now. And believe it or not, that kotatsu also works as well. I know it looks like it's a tight squeeze right here, but it actually works, and I'm really happy about that. Obviously, you can see at this point that furnishing wise, it's pretty sparsely furnished, this apartment, and that's because I was really limited with the amount of funds that I had. But considering the fact that I did, you know, work within a budget, I'm really happy with how everything came together. I think it's a pretty realistic looking apartment for someone who's just starting off in life. And yeah, funny thing is, I actually did look at a lot of apartment vlogs, apartment tour videos on YouTube. It's really funny because there's actually a lot of Filipino workers living in Japan, so I had no shortage of, you know, Filipino Japanese vloggers showing off their apartments and their homes and their lifestyles in Japan. So yeah, I got a lot of inspiration from that as well. And yeah, right now we're working on the kitchen actually, and this is what I meant by a 1K. The kitchen is typically separated from the rest of the living area. And yeah, overall the kitchen is pretty basic, honestly. It's only like a 3-tile kitchen, and a lot of you are probably not gonna like this, but the kitchen actually doesn't have a sink. I'm sorry. There's no way of fitting a sink in here. I had to compromise by using a mini fridge just so I could have another surface to have a microwave. But you know, there is a sink in the toilet, and if you really want to have some sort of dishwashing thing, you can always put a dishwasher in the kitchen, because if I put a sink, there's no way of using that counter space for your Sims to prepare their meals, so it's either or. And the kitchen sadly doesn't have a lot of detail. Usually I like to put a lot of clutter on my kitchens, but in this case, clutter was actually quite expensive and I didn't have enough of a budget to do that. For the bathroom, now I do want to emphasize that for 1K apartments, bathrooms are actually not separated, because typically Japanese bathrooms are split into multiple rooms. There's a toilet area, there's a shower area, bath area, and there's a laundry area. But apparently for 1K apartments, at least based on my research, the bathrooms are all in one area. And obviously, since we didn't have a lot of space inside, I did have to put the washer outside. This was actually quite an expensive item, so if you're working on a budget, you might want to delete that and replace it with, what do you call those? Wash basin. There we go. Oh, also, I use one of those walk-in closets from Get Together. Yeah, I tried to do something else with that, but I thought that was the best, in this situation, so I just went with it. And yeah, at this point we're actually finished working on the inside. This is a pretty quick video, by the way. It's only like 15-ish minutes long, so yeah. Also, landscaping wise, I kept it really simple. Not much landscaping. I did not want to spend any more money on any landscaping, so I did use mostly items from the show hidden objects category. Oh, and we also got a new mailbox, by the way. Hopefully that one is functional, because I did put it in this floating area on these fence posts. I just want to take a second to address a lot of the comments that I've been getting in my recent videos. So I think I'm gonna record the updating process for my Redesign Newcrest series. That was kind of the plan from the very beginning, but I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And I also really want to get to work on Redesign Newcrest, so hopefully once I get all of my builds done for Snowy Escape, I can get back to work on my Redesign Newcrest series. I will give you a disclaimer that there's probably going to be a lot of Japanese builds over the next couple of months, so hopefully you're ready for that. I honestly, so far, don't see like me doing anything other than Japanese builds, so yeah, you can look forward to that for sure. Also, one more thing, a lot of people have been asking me to redo the entire world of Mount Komorebi, and right now my priority is Newcrest. I'm probably going to consider redoing a Komorebi save file once I'm done with my Newcrest series, but for now you can use my builds for Mount Komorebi and combine them to make your own save file. Oh, also, one thing that I got feedback from in my last video is that Japan people mostly do reverse parking, so I tried to incorporate that in this build as well. I know the parking area is a little bit of a squeeze, but I think that the Sims can manage on their own. But it looks like that's actually going to be it for this build. Hopefully I got to say everything I wanted to. I think I did. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this. You all have an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.